Good morning. I'm going to read a couple of paragraphs. It's about tolerance. Tolerance. The word is not a pretty one. To tolerate is to put up with, to endure, or suffer the existence of what are, or appear to be, other ways of thinking than our own. And it is neither very pleasant, merely, quote, to put up with, our neighbors and fellow guests, not very pleasant to feel that one's own deepest institutions and beliefs are being patiently, quote, endured. Moreover, if the Western world is actually more tolerant today than it was some centuries ago, or has been since the fall of Rome, it is largely because men are no longer sure that there is any truth of which we can be certain, and are inclined to the quote, democratic belief that one man's opinion is as good as another, especially in the fields of politics, art, and religion. Tolerance, then, is a merely negative virtue, demanding no sacrifice of spiritual pride and involving no abrogation of our sense of superiority. It can be commended only in so far as it means that we shall refrain from hating or persecuting others who differ or seem to differ from ourselves in habit or belief. Tolerance still allows us to pity those who differ from ourselves and are consequently to be pitied. Tolerance, carried further, implies indifference and becomes intolerable. Our proposal is not that we should tolerate heresies, for example, but rather come to some agreement about the truth. How about that? Hmm? Come into an agreement about truth. Do you think people want to come to an agreement? We cannot establish human relationships with other peoples if we are convinced of our own superiority or superior wisdom and only want to convert them to our way of thinking. The modern Abrahamic, who thinks of the world as his parish, is faced with the painful necessity of becoming himself a citizen of the world. He is invited to participate in a symposium and a convivium, not to preside, for there is another who presides unseen, but as one of many guests. It has never been denied that some truths are embodied in pagan beliefs, and even Saint Thomas Aquinas was ready and willing to find in the works of the pagan philosophers, quote, extrinsic and probable proofs of the truths of his own beliefs. He was indeed acquainted only with the ancients and with the GEWS and some of the Arabians, but there is no reason why the modern Abrahamic, if his mental equipment is adequate, should not learn to recognize or be delighted to find in, let us say, the Vedantic, the Sufi, the Taoist, the Edda, the Upanishad, the great epics, or the American Indian formulations, extrinsic and probable proofs of the truth as he knows it. It is more than probable indeed that his contacts with other believers will be of very great advantage to any student. If only, right? If only they could put aside their ego and you know admit admit that there's this thing called natural order, yes, and just live and let live, right? All right. Have a nice day.